cream or balm foundation work on over 60 mature skin? And can a drugstore cream foundation beat a high end? Let's find out. I am so excited to be doing this video. I have been meaning to do a cream foundation video for such a long time, and both the foundations that I'm going to be talking about in this video today I've had for quite some time, particularly the KVD Good Apple foundation, which I'm pitting against Max Factor's Miracle Touch foundation. So these are the two that we're going to be trialing today. So why did I want to choose a cream foundation on my mature skin? I know that cream foundations are more full coverage, but I really wanted to try the KVD because it was all over the internet last year. When I was in Sephora last summer, gosh, that seems so long ago, I saw it in there and I just thought, yeah, I've got to try it, even though it's about £32. It is really expensive as against the Max Factor, which is about £6 something, which I guess in US dollars are probably about, I don't know, $35 to $8, something like that. All the products and all the prices and everything I talk about will be listed and linked below. I think this is a really interesting dupe test because the Max Factor is a quarter the price of the KVD. However, I think it's really interesting to try them both. So let me tell you a little bit about them. So the Max Factor, which I have in the shade Sand Beige 78, I think it says here. Yeah, 78 Sand Beige. It has moisturising hyaluronic acid, SPF 30, which I'm not bothered about because I use a separate SPF and I've got my skincare on, including my SPF at the moment. It says its solid to liquid formula floats over the skin for an instantly perfected, smoother texture. Gives you a flawless looking skin with one easy application. It's lightweight. The idea is that the warmth of your fingers turns it to liquid as you apply it and glides across your skin for a smooth and perfected look. It reduces the appearance of pores, redness, age spots and sunspots, which is always a good thing at our age, and blemishes without settling into fine lines. I don't believe that. Everything settles into fine lines on my face anyway, but still. It says it's suitable for all skin types, including sensitive skins. It's non-comedogenic, so it won't clog pores, and it suggests using the compact sponge which comes with it to apply. Now, I haven't used it because it's fine and it probably would be okay, but I would rather use my fingers or a brush or possibly my own sponge. It doesn't specifically say it's cruelty-free and vegan, but Max Factor is owned by Coty, which is a very big, long-standing brand, and they do have various statements on their site, which I'll link down below for you, about their cruelty-free policy, their clean beauty policy, and whether a product is vegan or not. So that's the Max Factor Miracle Balm Foundation. Right, moving on to the KVD Good Apple Balm Foundation, this one here. Now this one does call itself a balm. The Max Factor doesn't mention the word balm actually. This retails at the moment for £26 on the Boots website in the UK. In the US, that's probably about $28, $29, maybe $30. Usually it's £32, which again, I would say is probably about $35. And of course, I'll link everything below. Now, what KVD say about the foundation is, this is the foundation that broke the internet with its instantly iconic, lightweight, full coverage. That's a slight contradiction in terms, I would say, lightweight and full coverage, not sure about that. However, it says, trust us, a little goes a long way, and they're absolutely right, because when I first applied it, when I got it last summer, I put far too much on. You really don't need very much at all. It says it has a natural finish, skin that looks like skin, which is always a good thing, goes on fast and lasts all day. It says best for balance to dry skin. I don't really know what balance means. I suppose it means normal to dry, but it does say you can use it if you have oily skin. You just might need to use some powder as well. It says the coverage will cover everything from blemishes to discoloration to tattoos even. It's fully recyclable. It's 100% vegan and cruelty-free. Now this one says use a sponge or a dense foundation brush. I think what we'll do is, because I'm really into stippling, and if you've never stippled, it's definitely a good idea to try it if you've got over 60 mature skin, then I think that's what we'll do. We'll apply it with our fingers and we'll stipple. And we'll do that with both foundations so that we compare and contrast properly and see whether we can tell the difference and which one we like the best. So we're going to do the Max Factor on this side and the KVD on that side. Oh, and I forgot to tell you what shade I'm in for the KVD. I'm in medium 048. So without further ado, let me start the application. I'm going to put my hair back. My hair's being very unruly today. I've started to leave my hair curly because so many people, both at home and on YouTube, have told me that they like it. I haven't quite got used to it yet because I always think it looks a bit messy, and my husband, every time he sees me, goes like this because he thinks I look like an old hippie. Anyway, I'm digressing as I usually do, but let's crack on. So let's first go with the KVD. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to take a little bit on my finger. See, I've already, as soon as you put your finger in, a lot comes out, and I think that might be enough. There it is there. So let me start applying it. I might have to go in with a tiny bit more, but we'll see how we go because it really does go a long way. Now I'm going to be using my It Cosmetics foundation brush, which I really like. It is dense, but it's also quite fluffy. I like the fact that it's both those things because I do have another brush by Beauty Pie, which is a foundation brush, but it's a bit hard. It's a bit tough. This one's got a bit more give to it. So we are stippling, which seems to be a very good way to apply foundation if you have mature skin. And I can thank my lovely friend on YouTube, Maggie D, for the suggestion to stipple, and I think she's absolutely right. Now, as you can see, one little fingerful, and that's not bad coverage, is it? I mean, what we'll do actually, because I do have this one blemish here, because it suggests, as the Max Factor does as well, I think you can cover blemishes. Well, they said you can cover tattoos, didn't they? So let's see if we can cover that blemish. And we're just going to pat it, I think. Try patting it with my fingers and maybe then finishing it off with the brush. And let's see what sort of coverage we get with that. Let's see. What do we think? Has that covered up the blemish? Yeah, I think that's pretty good actually. And I think that looks really natural. It doesn't look heavy. Has it settled into anything? I mean, look, this is this lovely fold I've now got on my skin that I've discovered recently. This is just age, isn't it? But not bad. Let's just pat that in. I think that looks pretty good. So now let's do the Max Factor on the other side. So again, I'm just going to choose a different finger. Now this one doesn't have quite as much give, as it were. There it is. And let me apply that. Now this one does feel a little bit lighter, it has to be said, than the KVD. Actually, I forgot to do the middle of my chin there, but never mind. So there we are. Let's now stipple that in. I mean, I am using the same brush, but you know, it's not the end of the world, is it? See, I don't think using their sponge would be quite right myself. I think you'd end up with too much product on. Well, I don't know about you, but I think there's very little to choose between the two of them, to be honest. I mean, the colour, the shade is very slightly different. I think that's pretty good coverage and it doesn't feel at all heavy. They both went on really well. So I am really impressed with those two. I mean, I have been wearing both of them, but not side by side, as it were. I have been wearing both of them separately and I've really enjoyed wearing them, particularly in the winter. There's something rather comforting about putting a cream product on your face. It's funny, I would have thought that cream products for me, and I don't wear a lot of them, would have been more suitable for the summer, but there's something sort of quite cushiony, as it were, about wearing a balm foundation, a cream foundation on your skin in the winter. Anyway, what we're going to do is I'm going to put the rest of my makeup on and then I'm going to come back and do a 4-hour check-in and an 8-hour check-in and we'll see where we get to. Okay, so there we are with a full face of makeup on, very quick makeup. I've literally just put on concealer, powder to set the concealer, eye makeup and lipstick and blusher. And actually I must talk about at some point this fantastic blusher, this cream blusher by Revolution. It's amazing, I absolutely love it. So very simple makeup. So just to recap, we've got the Good Apple Balm foundation on this side. We've got the Max Factor Miracle Touch on the other side. And we're going to come back in 4 hours and see how they are wearing. But just to show you again, Good Apple on one side, Max Factor on the other side. So here we are in the rain at the 4-hour check-in. I'm in my garden and the weather is really awful. It's raining, it's horrible, it's cold. But I think the foundation seems to be holding up quite well. So this is the high end, this is the KVD, and that is the Max Factor. And I think they're doing quite well, really. So I will see you again in a few hours, about 6 o'clock in the evening. So here we are at the evening check-in. It's just gone 6:30 and I'm about to cook some dinner. And let us have a look at the foundations. And I think that they have both performed equally well. From memory, and I've forgotten now, but I think this is the KVD side and this is the one with the blemish that looks like it's the foundation has slid off a little bit, which is to be expected, to be honest, after all this time. And this one is the Max Factor side, but really there is not a cigarette paper of difference, I don't think. So I think the conclusion is they're both lovely foundations. I enjoy using them both, but if you are in the market for a cream foundation and you don't want to pay top dollar for KVD, then I think the Max Factor is really excellent. I don't think it's got as many shades as the KVD. That's the only thing I would say about it, but it's a quarter of the price. They're both really good quality foundations, and I do think the Max Factor hides its light under a bushel a bit. So let me know in the comments below, have you tried the KVD? Have you even heard of the Max Factor Cream Foundation? I do think it's really excellent. And are you tempted to try one or both of them? Let me know, I would really be interested. And let me know if you've tried any other cream foundations. Now there is one that I haven't tried, and I know Kat from Cat's Eye Beauty, Kat, if you're watching, I know you really struggled with the, it's not Bobbi Brown, is it? But oh, Jones Road it's called, isn't it? The Jones Road Balm. I mean, I'm definitely not tempted to try that. I would if I could go in and test it in a store, but it's only online. It sounds really bizarre, so I'm not sure we're going to go there. But I'm really happy with these two. Let me know if you've tried some other ones. I'd be really interested. And thank you so much for watching. It means the absolute world to me. It really does. And I'll look forward to seeing you on my next video. Bye.